Hello, my name is Tony from Leeds Accounting Tutors. Today we're going to do contribution pay limiting factor question. Alright, so here for the company that manufactures three products, the alpha, the beta, and the costa. I'm given demand schedules here. I'm also given the price of materials, yes, per unit. I'm also given labor costs and the overheads. All these things are per unit. Of course, not these demands. These are total demanded units for each product. Then I'm given this thing here, the material costs £10 per kilo. All right, that's fine. Then this material with a short life, it's okay. The labor force is employed in a fixed contract that pays them a weekly wage of £700. All right, then they work 40 hours a week. The contract prohibits any overtime working. Oh, that's fine. The overheads are all fixed, so I know that these ones are fixed overheads because the question is telling me, so here the overheads are fixed. All right. Then the next thing here that I'm told is that the selling price is alpha sells for 250, the beta for 300, and the costa for 180, which is good. That's fine. Then it has just been discovered that there is a limit on the quantity of materials. So here we've got my limiting factor now. Just going to highlight it in. Just going to highlight it again here. We've got a limit in materials. All right, and we can only have 3,600 kilos, so that's our limiting factor, I presume. But what is the question saying? Here are my three questions for 10 marks. Number one, calculate the contribution each product makes. All right, that's pretty straightforward. For each product, calculate the contribution per kilo of material. Again, that's pretty straightforward. Then number C is produce a revised production budget in units for quarter 3 that maximizes profit. All right, so let me start by doing number A first. So I'm going to go to the next page where I've got a paper set up already to do that. So for this kind of question, I need to have 3 columns because I've got 3 products. If I had 4 products, I was going to have 4 columns. All right, so I'm just going to draw 3 lines, 1, 2, 3. So each column for each product. So my products are, if I go back to the question, my products are I've got the alpha, the beta, and the costa. So I've got the alpha here, and I've got the beta here, and I've got the costa. So I know that the question says calculate your contribution. Contribution is just your selling price per unit minus your variable cost. That's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to put selling price for each product. Then I'm going to say less my variable cost. So less my variable costs. Variable costs. So what kind of variable cost do I have here? I know that I've got my materials. So direct materials are variable costs. I'm going to list them down. And I've got my direct labor. Then if I subtract that, I'll get my contribution, which is number A. So without even looking at the question, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. Then here I'll get my answers. All right, I'll get my answers. Yes, contribution. That'll be contribution. That'll be contribution. So I'm just going to go back to the question and look for my selling price. So what was my selling price? My selling price is given. Yes, these things here. 250, 300, and 180. So I'm just going to bring them here. It's 250 here, 300 here, and 180 here. What are my variable costs? Materials, labor. So let me start with materials. Materials are here, 50, 100, and 30. So I'm just going to go back to the next page. Is 50. Put them in brackets so that don't forget to subtract them. 100 and 30. Then I go back and look for my direct labor. My labor is 60, 60, 40. So I'm just going to put it here. 60, 60, and 40. Alright, so what's my contribution here? 250 minus 50, that's 200, that's 140 here, that's my contribution. The next one, that's 140, because it's 160 minus 300 minus 160, which gives us 140. This is 180 minus 70, which gives us 110. Alright, so I've answered number A, which says calculate your contribution. So I've done this part. For number B now, for each product, calculate the contribution per kilogram. So I've got my contribution already, but what about this one per kilogram? Per means divide. So I'm just going to divide. So I need to divide my contribution with my kilograms. But if you look at this question now, I'm not given kilograms. I'm given pounds. How do I get kilograms? I know that each kilo costs 10p, 10 pounds per kilo. That means I can get my materials here. I can do this in the exam and just write materials in kgs here. If I say 50 divided by 10, this should give me 5 kgs for the first one. I do the same here again. 5 by 10, give me 10 kilograms. Divided by 10, this gives me 3 kilograms. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to put my materials in kilograms. So the first one, my kilograms are 50, so I'm just going to show you how I got them. So it's going to be 50 divided by 10, which gives me 5. I do the same, 100 divided by 10, which is going to give me 10 kgs. So these are kgs. These are my kilos. These are my kilos, 10 kgs. And the next one as well is my kgs, which is 30 by 3 by 10, sorry, which gives me 3 kgs. Well, that means for me to answer number B now, B wants me to find contribution per kg, a kilogram. I can now do that because it's now going to be here 140 divided by 5. So if I say 140 divided by 5, what do I get? Let me put that in my calculator. So 140 divided by 5, 40 divided by 5 is equals to 28. Then 140 divided by 10, which is equals to 14. 110 divided by 3, so 110 divided by 3 equals to 36.7. What I'm going to do now with this is, although I'm not asked to calculate it or to do it, I'm just going to do it because I know that I need to use it. In part C, I'm going to do my ranking here. I'm going to use my contribution per kilogram to rank my products. This one is got the highest, so this becomes number 1. So if I'm going to do my production plan, I know that this becomes number 1. Right, so this becomes number 1, this becomes number 2, and this becomes number 3. Alright, so I've answered number B now. Number C is produce a revised production budget in units for quarter 3. Alright, so I can do this. Let me expand my table a little bit. And then come down to do my revised production budget. So I'm going to do my revised production plan. So I start with the first one. The first one is Costa. Costa requires, if I look at this part here, Costa requires 24,000 units. So I'm just going to put 24,000 units here. And I got number 2, which is Alpha. Alpha requires 20,000 units. I'm going to put 20,000 units here. Then for number 3 now, I need to work out something here. So I'm going to say available kgs first. So how many kgs do I have? Available kgs. They're given. We're given that we only have what? 360 kgs. So that's what I'm going to write down and say I've got 360 kgs. Then after making, so make Costa. I'm going to spend this amount of kgs, 24,000 times the number of kgs for Costa, which is 3 kgs. This gives me 72,000 kgs.